discussed about joint method. We have done some numericals on joint method also, and then we started with the section method. Our return method depends upon the scientists who have invented the section method. Their name is recalled as the return method for stress analysis. We have done numerical on stress analysis for the first example. We have find determining the axial forces in different members we have done. Next, for this example also we have done example number 6. Hope that this problem was given to you people, I think. Yeah, we solved it here only. कोई तो reply दो.
क्लास में ही सॉल्व किया था सर हमने.
Solve किया?
Yes, sir. Class.
Okay, fine. Next will be of another method we'll go through. That will be of graphical method, where in our syllabus we are having only the section method and joint method. For brief introduction for the graphical method, it will be given with the graphical method analysis of truss or Cremonea method, depends upon the scientist who designed the graphical method for analysis of trusses. This method deals mainly with the graphical representation of equilibrium of each joint. The basic advantage that makes in this method is alternative, is the ability to unify all the force polygons resulting from graphical equilibriums of each joint into only one polygon known as a Cremonea diagram, or the graphical representation of forces. This method was created by an Italian mathematician whose the name is after the scientist name, that is of Luigi Cremonea. He has invented this method, depends upon the mathematical solutions. He has analyzed these processes. The graphical method, the process, how we need to draw the graphical method. Although the graphical is method lead to the quick determination of member forces and is useful especially in case of where the external loads are the truss members from random angles are given in the trusses. If the random angles are there for the members, if or else if the quantity of external loads applied on the various joint is more, in such cases the graphical representation method will be very much effective. Consider the case of graphical analysis. The equilibrium of point acted upon three forces, one of which is completely known while other two will be unknown in the direction only. For example, a lamp hanging by two wires. The lamp weight will be known, the forces in the two wires you need to find out. That will be two unknowns and one will be known component. The process will be draw the vector of the completely known forces in the proper direction, scale, magnitude and scheme, and one end of the vector draw a line parallel to the direction of one of the other two forces, while from the other end draw the second line parallel to the other direction. The graphical method, the vector diagram you need to draw, the vector and the point of section of two lines define a triangle. Same as the horizontal component, vertical component and inclined component will be showing in a vector diagram, and which will be forming a triangle for preparing the vectors. Now, the following path of vector by laying out the two unknown forces stiff to the tail, thus closing the force triangle. We find both magnitude as well as the sense of the other two forces, that is magnitude as well as direction in which the forces will be acting, that can be identified by the triangles, where the tip to tail joints will be there for each triangles. There will be no open triangle will be there. The tip and tail will be joined together. To find out what direction of movement will be there for the forces as well as what will be the magnitude, how much of quantity it is of the unknown forces can be easily determined. Of course, the completely known force can be considered as the resultant of other known forces through the force polygon. From this, the procedure, we realize that the basic characteristics which appears to be common in the method of joint and Sherman's diagram lies in the main strategies, where the Sherman's diagram will give you complete idea of how the graphical method is designed. For analysis, the equilibrium of a joint, in the first method available were two equations only, whereas in the second method we had two ends of the known force, the vectors only, where the vectors will be completely determined and then those values will be found out in the graphical method. Keeping in mind that similarity of our new method, we can also start and continue with the equilibrium of joint, where at least one known load exists in each joint, which not more than two unknown forces will be present in the component. Where if you are considering any joint, there should not be more than two unknowns, which we have solved in the previous methods also. Okay. Compared to analytical method of joint, the graphical method of Sherman diagram is less precise, where however the loss of precision is unimportant and theoretical. Nevertheless, the speed and the elegance of the method are in the main characteristics that makes it popular and attractive by many designers, whereas the graphical method may give you the less precise values. That will be depends upon the because how precise diagrams you are drawing. It is completely on the schematical diagram we need to draw on paper, and from the diagrams only we'll be analyzing the numericals and we'll be finding out the values. The curves are the inclined lines which will be to the scale you need to draw, then only the values can be easily calculated for each members. If any changes happens with respect to the scale of the diagram, then the values may vary. Because of that, only the precision of the graphical method of the Sherman's diagram will be less precise as compared to our previous two methods, that is the joint method and section methods. And this is the numericals on this will be of just for your information. I am explaining this graphical method. Otherwise, it is not asked in the exams. If the problem is given like this, the truss is given with the two supports, that is one is ruler and one is hinge, having the different loads, that is of 4 kilonewton, 4 kilonewton and 2 kilonewton, having different dimensions of 2 meters span each. The graphical representation first will be finding out the support reaction, that is RA and RV, RVA and VB, that can be calculated by summation of Fx and summation of My, the summation of Fx and summation of Fy, and then we'll be finding out the reaction by considering the moment about a point is equal to 0. Okay, by considering this diagram, is that right? Whose mic is unmuted?
लांब जायला अरे ते पैशांचे एकच तिथं घ्या पण पैसे
प्रज्वल पाटील,
पैसे आला का नाही पैसे एवढा लागतो
fine. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. You need to find out the horizontal and vertical reactions. That is our regular practice, which we have followed for calculation of the reactions. Here, a 2 kN load is acting at the end. 4 kN, 4 kN, and 2 kN. These are the applied load, external loads. We need to find out reaction at this VA and VB. That is RA, RP. You can write any values. First, to find out the horizontal values, we can write summation of Fx is equal to 0. There is no horizontal applied loads or reactions which is available. Therefore, summation of Fx is equal to 0. Horizontal A, that is in support. There will be two reactions, that is vertical as well as horizontal. Horizontal becomes 0 because of there is no inclined loads as well as horizontal loads. Okay. Only remaining is of VA and VB that can be calculated by summation of MB is equal to 0, writing moment about this point. The moment can be written as 0 by applying moment. That will be of VA into distances of given already, that is of 4 meter. I think previous diagram is given. You can see the previous one dimensions are given. Yeah, 2, 2, 2 and 2 meter dimensions are given already. If you are multiplying those and writing the moment equation about B point by writing, you can write 2 into 0 distance, there will be no reaction. 4 into 2 meter, 4 into 4 meter, VA into 4 meter, and 2 into 6 meter. This is written over here. You can see. Therefore, the VA will be of 9 km. Once you got VA, summation of Fy you can do and find out VB value, that will be of 3 km. This is how we need to find out the reactions. It's an easy process to find out the reaction for any truss, and then you need to go for graphical method analysis. First step is converging, covering the whole area of the free body diagram. We name, say with numbers in the circles, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The members are named. Each member is named as separate component, like one span to another span. Both the triangles formed by the member and by the external loads, so that each member are load separate to areas. The load as well as the members which are there in the diagram, that will create a separate triangles. So for that, the namings are given. Each load naming is separate and the triangles naming will be given. That will be of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up to 11, there are numbering are given. Each member is separate, count is there. Okay. Once it is done, then use an appropriate scale. For example, 1 kilonewton equal to 1 centimeter. You need to draw the graph. We next draw the force polygon of external load. Each region is represented by the point at the force polygon. The intersection of the represented by point at the force polygon, intersection of the parallel lines drawn from one region, that is point, to the adjacent region, another point. Give a point corresponding to the adjacent regions. Whereas the next we define the closewise sequence of forces around the joint to form a complete or closed triangle. This means that if we start diagram the force triangle for equilibrium of joint B from say the calculated reaction force of 3 kilonewton, and the next force considered will be of the member S11 and S not of S8. Whereas if you consider 3 kilonewton to be the BB, that is here it is, if you are considering the B point. The member consideration will be of 11, not go for other components. It will be of 11th member. You can draw a diagram like this. Triangles we need to prepare, and to the scale you need to draw the diagrams. Which one is the tension member, which one is the compression member, that can be calculated. This will be representing the lengths of each distance, and the 2, 3 and 7, that is of 2, 3 and 7 form the triangle. This triangle. That diagram is shown like this in this scalar. Depends upon the load as well as depends upon the distance between the members. With respect to this, the calculation for the compression zone member as well as tension member zone calculation will be done. You need to measure with the scale on the graph sheet how much value is coming. That will be represented in the tables to find out the values. We are not practicing the graphical method. Just for information, I am explaining the graphical method for you. Okay. The set square with integrated protector can be used for measuring the angles as well as the scale. Here in this one, you can measure the scale as well as the angles. This scale is required for measuring the length as well as the, you might have seen this type of scales, integrated protectors. Whereas the scale will be also there and angle will be also there. And some previous scales used to be like only the angles you used to measure, distance was not given in the previous scales. Nowadays, the proctors will be of both scale as well as angles for particular components. This is an next will be dealing with deflection, that will be of not included in your syllabus. Will be dealing with other component that will be of moving loads. As per your syllabus, will be dealing with the other component that will be of trusses is completed. We have completed coplanar by the method of section as well as method of joint. Now we need to draw the 3-hinge arches. 3-hinge arches, and then we'll go for the influence line diagrams. The theoretical bit of 3-inch arches will deal now, and then we'll go for the analysis of the structure. Screen is visible.
No, sir.
Okay. First, we'll deal with the theoretical bit of the arch and cables as well as 3-inch arch, and then we'll be starting with the what is 3-inch arch, what is how to solve the numericals on 3-inch arch, because it is a determinate structure. Okay. Arch is defined as a curved girder having the convexity upward and support at its end. The supports must be effectively arrested. Displacement in vertical or horizontal direction only then will be arch action. If the horizontal as well as vertical settlement is there, or displacement of supports are there, in such cases, the arc may be failure. Because of that, it is having a convexity upward, sketch for curves and arches. You might have seen many of the structures of arcs where at the entrance of many commercial buildings, the arch will be there. In ornamental structures of Indian culture, many temples are there. Some structures like Taj Mahal is there, and many structures are there, monumental structures with arcs. You might have seen the various type of structures where the arc will be involved. In your simple buildings also, some of the rooms will be having the entrance with the arch. That can be easily identified and applied for the arch. Yes, it is. Introduction. Nini pendrive kare. Nan pendrive se karni. No. Okay. Next is they state the general cable theorem, where the cables will be used for the arcs also in the various type of structures. In general, cable theorem helps us determining the shape of cable supported at two ends when it is acted upon by vertical forces. It can be stated as at any point on the cable acted upon by vertical loads, the product of horizontal component of cable tension and vertical distance from the point to the cable's cord equal the moment. This would occur at that section if the loads carried by the cable were acting on simply supported beam of the same span as that of the cables are having. Where the cable structure you might have seen for bridges. One of the good example for cables will be of bridges. Many of bridges will do the cables are there. Like a Bandra-Worli ceiling. That is also cable structure where the cables are added for that. The sway bridges. The many sway bridges are there with the cables where the loading will be on vertical direction, but the cable will be supported on the horizontal directions. दोनों साइड से बांधा हुआ रहता है cables और बीच में vertical loading या vehicles movement रहने दो या people's movement on the sway bridges. All these will be considered to be the vertical loading conditions, which will be the acting the downward direction, and the member forces will be in the inclined direction to the horizontal direction, to the end supports. That will be general cable theory. The types of hinges are in the arcs. will be divided as the 3-hinge arch, 2-hinge arch, single hinge arch, and fixed or hingeless arch. Various category of arches are 3-hinge, 2-hinge, single hinge, and fixed hinge arch, or as well as no hinge arch, in which depends upon the number of hinges involved in the arch, the classification is done. As you know, the fixed are high, the hingeless arches, they are building structures. There will be no hinge in between. It is completely a fixed arch. In some structure, trusses and all, there will be of 2-hinge arch, there will be 3-hinge arch, and single hinge arches available. One sided only the support will be there, other sides there will be no support. In 2-hinge arches, only 2 ends will be having the supports. In between there will be no hinges. In 3-hinge arches, 2 supports plus 1 hinge will be there at the middle of the arch. Okay. The types of their shape depends upon the shape. It is classified as curved, parabolic, elliptical, and polygonal arc. Depends upon the shape of arches, it can be divided. Next is horizontal thrust. What is horizontal thrust? Why we need to do that? In a 3-hinge arch, because we are having the 3-hinge arch in our syllabus, therefore the components of 3-hinge arch is necessary to know. Okay. The horizontal thrust is nothing but horizontal force, horizontal reaction. हम लोग previous सारे सम में हम लोग लिखते थे horizontal reaction के लिए HA. The same HA is named as here horizontal thrust. In 3-hinge arch, the force H is calculated by equating the bending moment at the center hinge to the 0, because hinge supports, all hinges will be having this moment as 0 only. Therefore, you can equate to 0 for the internal hinge and calculate the horizontal thrust. The horizontal thrust H reduces the beam bending moment called mu x. Actually, in the arc, the summation of moment about x is of mu x minus hy, where the mu x will be giving you the complete moment along the axis of the arch, and hy is giving you the horizontal thrust. Because of that, if any alignment changes is there in the support, the moment will be reduced because of hy. That is horizontal thrust. We'll be dealing how it will be reduced and how you need to find out the different moments acting on the arches in the numerical parts. Okay. What is a linear arch? Linear arch is this type of arch which is having equivalent span on both the side and loading on both the side. The loading condition is at the equidistant. Like W1 to W2 distance is same and W2 to W3 distance is same. Likewise, linear arch. If an arc is to be loaded with W1, W2 and W3, the vector diagram and the funicular polygon are plotted as shown in the figure. The funicular polygon is known as the linear arc or theoretical arc. Practically speaking, the linear arches will be not exist in the practicals, but in the theoretical explanation for ideal thrusts or ideal arches, this type of linear arcs will be available, where the equivalent loading will be there on each space. And if you draw the vector diagram for the space diagram or the original diagram, that can be shown in the left side diagram where it is mentioned. That will be of P, Q, R, S is distance between one point to another point, and the loading will be of W1, W2, W3 will be of loading conditions. This is of loading conditions. You see the diagram, the first diagram, that will be giving you the loading condition for W1, W2, W3 with the distance P, Q, R, S. Where the actual diagram will be space diagram, where how the load will be applied in the component. That will be giving you the actual structures. The polar distance, that is OT, the internal distance, that is the from bottom core to the top center, polar distance we call OT, represents the horizontal thrust. The links AC, the member links AC, CD, DE, and EB will be under compression, and there will be no bending moment. If an arc of this shape AB, ACD, EB is provided, there will be no bending moment in each section. If you are considering this type of structure, the bending moment will be not considered for the supports. The bending moment in the supports will be of completely zero. Next, definition of the cables. They are the continuation to the loading conditions of previous diagram. For the given set of vertical loads, that is W1, W2, W3, etc., we can have any number of linear arches, depends on where we are choosing the O, that is center point, or how much horizontal thrust OT we choose to introduce. Depends upon that only our component values can be calculated for AC, DE, the member forces that can be calculated. But in our horizontal 3-inch arches or 2-inch arches, we are not finding the horizontal member reactions. We'll be finding the moments and reactions for different sections of the arches. If you are drawing the influence line diagram, that is imaginary diagram, how the moment will be created on the bending moment, or the imaginary line for the trusses, where we can have the different components of the structure. I can draw on this one easily. If you see this diagram, the influence line diagram for the cables, it is given. In our next chapter also we will be having the influence line diagram. So there also we will be giving you the influence line diagram. Well, in this case, the cable is original diagram. The first one is, this is cable diagram. This is one support and this will be the second support. This is a complete cable and these are the loading conditions. These are the loading conditions. The cable banda hua hai, those support पे और loading conditions दिया है, one joint to another joint continuous at frequent intervals. The loading conditions are. Okay. For that, we need to find out the shear force diagram. The loading conditions which is available on the truss from one end to another end. This is one end to another end. The loading can be given, reactions can be given as the applied load. If you are considering as P, the total P, then the reaction will be PL divided by 2 on both the ends. And shear force diagram can be drawn like this for two of the members. Once it is done, we can draw the bending moment diagram. Bending moment diagram will be of the curve, where the loading condition will be of in the reverse direction. Or the loading will be there in the upward scale. Will be drawing the diagram for BM. And if you are finding the maximum bending moment at any section in the original diagram, that will be at particular interval. That will be L into 1 minus R will be finding out, R A plus will be finding out, R L divided by 2 will be finding out. That will be giving you the maximum bending moment at one section. And once the diagram is drawn, then you can go ahead for the influence line diagram. Influence line diagram is nothing but the imaginary diagram which is drawn from one end to another end moment of the loads. अगर मेरा एक लोड इधर से one end से इधर 1 किलोमीटर लोड में अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ और ये मूव कर रहा है from one end to another end. Because of that movement of the load from one end to another end, how your bending moment is changing. That will be drawn in the influence line diagram. This is of influence line diagram for the structure. and it can be drawn. We'll be having some of the numericals for influence line diagrams in our next chapter. What is the necessity in the suspension bridge to have the softening girders? Softening girders are the end moments. Okay, that can be written as the stiffening girder enables the suspension bridge deck to remain fairly level. Whatever the live load on the deck slab is nothing but where the people will be moving or vehicles will be moving on the bridges. That will be deck slab. Or in the, if your cable is there from both the ends, in between a pathway is done, that pathway is be called as deck slab. The stiffening girders will convert the transmitted load on the deck slab as uniformly distributed load and thereby help the cable retain in the parabolic shape during the passage of the loads. Deck slab will be given like, if your structure is, the cable is given like this. The cable is of original cable, which is shown in this diagram. If you see the 3D dimension of the cables, it will be like, this will be pathway in between, and this will be cables will be attached. That will be converting the load in the downward direction. The movement of vehicles will be on this. The stiffening girders will be this one, these 2 points. Where whatever load applied on this point will be transferred to this girders, and this girders will be creating a uniformly distributed load on the cables. Once the vehicle is going from one end to other end, the pathway will not displace or it will not move. Why? Because it will maintain a uniformly distributed load throughout the cable because of these stiffening girders that will be placed at the ends. Therefore, it is necessary to have a stiffening girder in the structures or in the cables. Next is a dead load of stiffening girder, which is a UDL, is directly transmitted to the cable and it is taken up entirely by the tension in the cables. Whatever dead load is there, that will be considered to be the tension member because of girder which is passing the dead load to the cables. Thus, the uniformly distributed dead load will not cause any shear, that is shear force or bending moment in the stiffening girder, because dead load will be considered to be the tension zone member and it will be not considered to be any shear or bending moment on the cables, which will be supported on the end supports, which will be not directly transmitting the load to the cables only, which is supported directly at the ends. Next is of the stiffening girder will have to resist the shear force and bending moment due to live loads. The shear force and bending moment because of the loading conditions of vehicles movement, the live load will be considered in the stiffening girders. Okay. Next is of expression for horizontal thrust in 3-inch arch or parabolic curve. By applying the UDL over entire span, the horizontal thrust, note down these formulas so that while solving the numericals, it will be easy to write down. The calculation will be easy for you people. And this calculation is having a derivation which is expressed in the mathematical form. In the maths also it will be there, parabolic curves and all. There will be dealing with this type of equations also. In such cases only this type of equations will be considered. Note down the equations where if a uniformly distributed load is there on entire span of 3-inch arch, in such cases the horizontal thrust can be calculated as WL square divided by 8 YC, where YC is center height from the level of support to the height of chord. perpendicular distance between the level of support to chord height. That will be giving, we'll be solving some numericals on 3-inch arch also, so that we can understand completely what will be the 3-inch arch, how we need to resolve the 3-inch arches. Write the expression for horizontal thrust of semicircle arc. If it is a semicircle arc, then you can write the expression as W cos square theta R pi by pi value. If the load is applied at the center, we get H is equal to W divided by pi or 0.318 into W. If it is applied at the center and if it is a semicircle. Semicircle पता है ना तुम लोगों को? Circle का आधा. This will be giving you the semicircle values. Note down this formula so that you can use in the upcoming numericals. Both the formulas. When it is applied with UDL, when it is a semicircle arc. Both equations are for 3-inch arch only. Only difference is one is applied with the complete UDL and one is applied with only a point load at the center of the semicircle arc. Then only the thrust can be calculated like this. Next is example is given over here. A flexible cable of 20 meter long is supported by 2 end supports in the same level, and supports are 16 meter apart. Determine the depth of the cable. How much will be the depth? That we need to find out. If the distance between 2 supports is of 20 meter, cable is of 20 meter and distance between 2 supports is of 16 meter, which means cable length is of 16 meter. Distance between 2 supports. If this is a support and another support is at this point, the support to support distance is 16 meter. And cable which is connecting the 2 supports is of 20 meter. For this, you need to find out depth. Depth is nothing but maximum the level of cable which is connecting to 2 supports. At what depth it can be fallen down. For that, you need to find out the depth, and that can be calculated as D is how much you need to calculate, and that can be given as S equal to L plus 8 by 3 D square divided by L is the equation to find out the values. Whereas S is known value, L is known value, which is already given. Only D you need to find out, or else D can be written as under square root S minus L into 3L divided by 8. The first equation is rearranged and it can be calculated as 4.89 meters. Write down the equation so that you can easily find out when it is asked for the calculation of any cables. Now this is a 4.89 value. This calculate. This is it for the now. We'll have one more lecture at 1 o'clock. We'll take 10 minutes break and we'll be joining back for the next lecture. Okay. Now you can post your roll numbers. We are not posted yet, and others who have already posted, they can leave. After 10-15 minutes,